Hello everybody, welcome to my weird and wonderful world, and I wanted to show you a couple of really cool art books that I have. Now, mind you, I've always been a pretty decent artist to begin with. I know a lot of techniques. Everything is self-taught. I've never went to school to learn anything. I actually do want to take a painting class if I can, because that's my weak spot, is especially with mixing colors. I have a horrible time mixing colors with paint. But I know composition. I know how to I'm really good at seeing shapes and getting the shapes right and everything. But there's three books that I have read multiple times just to kind of refresh me. I always kind of understood the fundamentals of these books, like the very basics of these books, but I really wanted to get a more in-depth analysis. Because I at one point I really wanted to make comic books, and if I'm going to do that, I needed a real head start on that. So I have these three books that are so important. I think anybody who's interested in doing comic books should get these. I got these, oh god, a long time ago. Really a long time ago. Maybe a good 15 to 20 years, maybe, I would have to say, because I've had these quite a while, but I love them. So the first one I want to talk about is Understanding Comics, The Invisible Art by Scott McCloud. Now, if you're getting into comics, to how to draw and stuff, this is the book to have. It has great chapters in it. So like with the introduction here, there's getting the record straight, the vocabulary of comics, blood in the gutter, time frames, living in line, show and tell, the 6 steps, a word about color, and putting it all together. So yeah, I think it's a great book. Try to give you some highlights. Yeah, it shows you all about how to put it together. What's some interesting stuff I could show you? It talks about the Egyptians and how their hieroglyphics was a kind of a form of comic books in many ways. There's talking about there's not really much I can go into with this. Talks about the superheroes, like different type of definitions of different types of comics and stuff. You get Dada, horror, surrealism, horror fiction, folk tales, erotica, mystery, religious topics, stream of consciousness, satire, which is a dying art, by the way. I love satire, good satire. Adaptation, social allegory, epic poetry, blank verse, romance, biography, so many different forms and functions. Chapter 2, the vocabulary of talking about that. Yeah, this is not a pipe, for example, showing a representation. And what I love about it is that he really gets really into the depth of all kinds of symbolisms, how to use the icon, the symbolisms in your work, different vocabulary, stuff about faces, the different types of from being abstract to more realistic, from like a cartoon to a picture, then the differences in between. So yeah, I think this is a great book. There's not so much to show you. The what's this now? This is he's calling the picture plane. Like, for example, here, in one corner you get some like the abstract, like a cartoon face, to a more more of a language, and up here, more abstract of just pictures, like hopefully that will give you the pictorial vocabulary of how, yeah, it's so, yeah, from reality to the language and to the picture plane. Now, and then it shows you all like different categories of where everything lies on that. Gives you a really good, again, from reality over on this side here with the with like a real picture to the smiley face cartoon and everything in between, and how abstract it can get with just, and on the top you see more like shapes and images of, and so I think it's a really great book. If you ever starting, this is the best place to start, is with this book in particular. Chapter 3, Blood in the Gutter, talking about how the language of comics and how to put things together. You can do it in different ways. There's like showing different ways of how to create a story with picture. The first one being moment to moment, the next one being action to action, the third one being subject to subject, and the last one being scene to scene. It would give you an idea of that. And then, yeah, I'm trying to give you more of the more important, like, here's a story, for example, you know, and how to put a story together, and, yeah, panel to panel, and scene to scene, and stuff like that. It's the next book I kind of want to get more into. Yeah, how to draw in perspective a bit, and stuff like that. Yeah, where's the next chapter? Chapter Living in Line. Like, just, yeah, I just want to give you a couple of examples of that here. Trying to find the more pertinent stuff. So, yeah, Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. And yeah, that sound you hear is the heater turning on once it gets a little too cold in here. The 6 steps, which is, let me see if I can't find that here. Yeah, idea, purpose, form, idiom, structure, craft, and surface. So he tries to go into the 6 steps of it here. And yeah. Now then, oh wow, he puts color at the end, like, because the color is expensive to put in a book. So when he does put the color in, so he a bit on the mixing of colors in that with the, you know, blue, yellow, and red, because with blue, yellow, and red, you can pretty much make every other color. All you need is maybe also white and black to give you the different shades and highlights to make it darker or lighter. So he goes into more detail about that. So yeah, I'm skipping so much here. But you get, like, you get cool pages like that. And the next one. Yeah. It's very informative. I really enjoyed reading this and learned a lot from it. I should read it again. I haven't looked at this in quite a while. But I thought about it since I wanted to get back into really doing a lot more artwork and stuff here. But yeah, it's a great book. So you got Understanding Comics. Now, I couldn't go without getting his next book, which is called Making Comics. And this This has a chapters of, let's see what the chapters are here. Oh, there's quite a lot here because he actually gives you some lesson plans and stuff in that. Writing with pictures, stories for humans, the power of words, world building, tools, technology, and tools, technique, and technology, your place in comics, and last chapter, making comics. There's a lot more involved in this. Like, yeah, the next one is working with pictures, and so again, recapping some of the stuff he did before with the moment to moment, action to action, subject to subject, scene to scene, aspect to aspect, and non sequitur. Just to give you some pointers and how sometimes you can take away a panel or streamline your panel so that they still make sense without giving you too much to do and other stuff like that. So continue. So clarity, you got your choice of moment, your choice of frame, your choice of image, choice of word, and choice of flow. Like, he gives you such an in-depth view of how to put comics together. Like, just those two books alone gives you a really good overview of exactly how to do it, how to intensify your panels and make it pop and stuff here and there. But also everything from realism to not so realism. So he gives you so many instructions on how to put it together. I don't want to repeat myself. He gives you notes. In this one here, he gives you notes and lessons to follow to help you become a better artist. All in all, yeah. Optional exercises. He gives you exercises, which I've been kind of lazy and I haven't done them, but I should have. It's, I can be busy sometimes doing this and doing that, and I wish I had more time to dedicate to these types of pursuits. Talking about the pencil outline, the penciling and stuff, and making your blueprints, and this is a really helpful area that I love. Like when you're coming to different expressions on your faces, between disgust, anger, joy, fear, surprise, sadness, which kind of incorporates the 6 main ones. But then he shows you kind of how to put them together in a way to make almost any kind of expression. I tell you, this is so helpful, and I've used that a few times in my drawings just to make sure I can get the right expression in the right way. That's the most important part for me. One of show you some examples here of that, so you get the idea on that. And what else is there? Yeah. Doesn't matter what style you're using, you can figure it all out. Then there's body language, how to make the body come into different forms and shaping it in the way you want it by using the stick figure method. There's different methods you can use, and give you an idea here, especially with this here of hopefully you can see that pretty good. Different types of themes to give you an idea of the power of the positionings and our social cues that we get from that, like from one person being lower, being subservient to the person who's taller, person leaning in rather than or taking it all in from leaning back, and just different little body language that he gets into. And again, at the end of each chapter, he gives you notes and lessons to follow, exercises, some more notes, and a whole bunch of exercises to follow, which I should really take the time and go through this. Then there's the next chapter, power of words, and how you can use words in specific ways. Like for example, there's like words specific, picture specific, duo specific, intersecting, interdependent, parallel, and homage. Yeah, or sorry, not homage, montage. Sorry about that. And how to put that together in a way to get your point across, whatever you're. So all in all, I just want to say that these are great books in order to yeah, like for example, Taxi. You know how that you can sometimes, you know, a picture is worth a good picture is worth 1,000 words or 1,000,000 words or however you want to say it. Then world building, how to build your world and make it a more livable, like realistic and like you're being there, you know. Now, there's still one more book I want to show you here. I don't want to go too. And then, yeah, and then he talks about perspective here and there, like getting into perspective and more thing about perspective, the 1 point, the 2 point, and the 3 point, which I know all of that because let's see. He also talks about the tools, the techniques, and the technology. I like just using pen and ink, and mostly that's my favorite medium. I showed you my art table in my one of my previous you know, different styles of penmanship and how different types of pen can give you different art styles and stuff. Which I love doing detail. It takes a while to do good detail, but it's so worth it when you see that end results in that way. And your place in comics. So he doesn't yeah, he tells you how difficult it is to getting into comics and stuff, understanding genres. Now I don't want to go on too much about this book because I want you to check it out for yourselves and stuff. So yeah, so that's the second book, is Making Comics. But here's another book by a guy named David Chelsea, and it's in the same style. He did this book in the same style as Scott McCloud, but it's called Perspective for Comic Book Artists. And this is pretty cool. He has a character he calls Cuphead. So he talks about, yeah, he starts off showing you some simple things about perspective. And then stuff like, you know, like distances and how things further away can seem small, and it's all like that. One of them is actually, like for example, this picture here, one of them is supposed to be really close up and small, while the other is normal size and far away. And then when you put the two figures side by side, they still appear to be the same size. You know, stuff about like overlapping and just different stuff like that. He talks about the picture plane and how that things that are actual size are on the picture plane right there, and things that are smaller in perspective, like smaller in size, would be behind the picture plane, and things that are actually larger than actual size are in front of the picture plane. And when you like, say the screen here is a picture plane, and if my hand, just say right there, okay, is actual size to the same size as your hand, that would be on the picture plane. Now, if it's smaller than your actual size, if you put your hand on the picture plane and it's not the same size, it's smaller, that's behind the picture plane. And now this would be in front of the picture plane, even though it's being cut off by the picture plane. You can break the wall. If my fingers extended past the border, that would be, it's still in front of the picture plane. Just little things like that. Talks about the horizon line, the horizon and the vanishing points, how things kind of recede off into the vanishing points, that we live in a boxy world, and usually, as you can see with Cuphead in the mirror, you know, that the horizon line usually from your observation point stays at around your eye level, of course. You know, doesn't matter how high you get, oh well, until you get into space, that is. And so then he goes into how to draw in, talks about cubes in space. How we live in a boxy world. Then he goes into the 1 point perspective. He adds another color. Oh, he adds red. And that in Cuphead was like, oh, that sounds expensive. And so that's the 1 point perspective. And then he gets into the 2 point perspectives, and then he gets into the, so he's still talking about 2 points perspectives here to give you some ideas. And then to really change it up, like he gives you, like you see here, he gives you these really good instructions on how to put that together. It's really in depth, and it's awesome. So it's really worth going through. And then he goes into 3 point perspectives, which is great. You know, again, giving you detailed instructions on how to put it all together. And then, like for example, boom. I love it. And how to combine certain different, like different 3 point perspectives in the same artwork, in the same drawing. It's really invaluable. Then he also goes about circles in perspective, how to draw circles in perspective. I mean, I already, like I said, I had a very good basic understanding of this stuff before I picked these books up. But these really brought it to, I can hone my skills and stuff. And then he goes into how to draw the human figure in perspective, like showing the muscles, and he talks about foreshortening and things like that. And then shortcuts to perspective. And this is really handy, and I actually had made photocopies of these in larger print, like colored photocopies. He gives you some cheat sheets that you can actually use to draw different perspectives. Well, like a nice, a kind of off-sided 2 point, but just a little off-sided, and then a 3 point, and then also a bit of a wacky 3 point, and then circles in perspective. So he gives you all the cheats, and at the end, once Cuphead learnt all he needed to know, he graduated. So, yep, before this video gets way too long, it's longer than I was expecting. Well, I kind of had things to show you here. I couldn't show you everything. This would have been like an 8-hour video or more. So that's 3 great books that if you want to be a comic book artist and you love art and everything, that's the books to pick up. I would highly recommend those 3 books in particular. I love them. I'm so glad that I got those. And yeah, just wanted to show you some of that stuff. So, if you feel like subscribing to my videos and my channel and everything, I would greatly appreciate it. But I really would love you just to like the video and give me a comment, please. I don't say this too often, but I am going to try to say it a little bit more often than I have, because it would be important for my channel to grow, and I want my channel to grow and reach more people for sure. And as always, please be safe, take care. I will see you on the flip side, and have a great day, evening, night, wherever you may be. Peace, everybody.